What is going on, guys? My name is Jumpy Deer Bob, and today I'm going to be showing you the Gladiators tips and tricks video that I promised that I was going to do a bit ago. I was going to do hiding spots, but I like this one better. So, for the first round of the Cherry Bomb map, you actually want to be quite aggressive. Though, you can stay back on the Cherry Bomb map. I find this is the map that's easiest to stay, not so aggressive on. Like, you don't have to go in swords with your sword. You can shoot him with the bow a few times, as he would have to run up that staircase, which makes it a lot easier for you to be able to shoot him. You don't have to be too aggressive on that map. On the second round of Cherry Bomb, it's actually it's a kind of just a personal preference. I like being on the hilltop where you can parkour up the logs onto. I know there's you can parkour up the logs or go around the hill, but this way you kind of have an advantage because you can keep an eye on your player at all times. So it's not like you have to keep track of 3 people. It's only one person to keep track of, so you can do that. And then just stay really aggressive on this map. Pre-fire with your sword, pretty much lock onto him. And in that fight, that's a prime example that I see a lot. A lot of people try shooting you with your bow, even though you're pretty much right on top of them. It doesn't make much sense to me why they do that, but a lot of people actually do that strategy. They try to pull back their bow and shoot you while you're hitting them with your sword right next to them. It's kind of a plus. It's really a plus for you because they can't shoot if they spam their bow. There's not going to be as much damage as you hitting them with your sword. With the eye calm person, it's actually a great situation. Or not really a great situation. It was pretty much a fair fight. But on the third round, you just want to hang back, just do your thing. There isn't really much of a strategy to the third round, in my opinion, because you have so many arrows and the armor is half decent. It's not as bad as the others. So my suggestion on the third round would be use your bow a bit and then use your sword. And then be pretty aggressive with your sword afterwards. And on the fourth round, you really don't want to end up in this little water. There's like a cylinder of water, a hollow cylinder of water around you. So around the edges, it's there. You're pretty much done. And I've won fights in that situation where I am in the water, but there isn't really a plus for you going into the water. It kind of just happens, and it's really something you don't want to end up happening to you. Though it does happen a bit. See, Jigglypuff got into the water, but and that actually gave me an advantage, and I ended up winning the game. Okay, right onto the desert map, the Fierce Desert map. The same strategy pretty much goes for all first rounds, is play pretty aggressively. Though on the Cherry Bomb, you don't have to play as aggressive. A lot of people will try to use their bow, since that does take out a great bit of your hearts, but it doesn't work that well for them if you're charging with your sword. This strategy, go over to where this little thing is, and you go around the cactus, and there's this little slot that you can parkour onto. You guys can watch the video over if you missed that a bit, but there's a hiding spot onto this roof, and it's actually a huge advantage. You can do one of two things. You can wait till poison and try getting shots on them, or while they're trying to figure out how to get up there, you can catch them off guard and use your sword. In this scenario, I did where I just caught him off guard and jumped onto him. It was a pretty close fight, so that's more of a sketchy fight, but if you don't want to wait the entire minute, that's a strategy I use. But it's really good because they can't shoot you from any angle, and even if they do get onto that little cart thing, you have the bow ready on them. So they'd have to be armed with the bow climbing up the ladder, which usually doesn't happen. This only happened to me once, and that person already knew how to get up there. See, it came down to a pretty close fight. I only had 1 heart left, but I still ended up winning, and that's usually the scenario that happens when you use that hiding spot. On this specific map on round 3, I really like to use my sword really aggressively on round 3 of this map, as it's pretty open. There isn't as many hiding spots, or not really hiding spots, just things that you can hide around. It's the only thing you can really hide behind is that fountain, and that's not too much of an advantage. So I'd just say get the jump on them with your iron sword, and you'd be able to take them out pretty easily. At least that's what I do, and it seems to work. On the final round, a good thing to implement is your bow, and sometimes they get caught on fire because they're like walking or whatever, and with that jump boost it sometimes flings them into the water. It's pretty much just basic PvP on that map. You can either play aggressive or with your bow with the amount of arrows that you have. On the frostbite or frozen bite, I forget the map its name. You want to play aggressive on the first round like usual. And it seems to work out because they'll be trying to do something else. With this, you can actually parkour into this little slot right here on the side of the mountain and get onto this. And what most people know how to do that, but they don't know how to get into the tree. If you go to onto that tree, there will be actually a little 2x1 slot they can jump into. And most people don't know how to get into there, as you can't jump and walk in there. You actually have to, since there's barriers above your head, you actually have to spam space so you bounce up and down between the barriers and then sprint into there. That'll give you enough of a boost to go into there with speed. But at a regular speed, you wouldn't be able to get into there. It's actually a great spot, as you can shoot arrows out of there occasionally. It doesn't happen too often. But you can do the same thing as the desert map. You can either wait for poison to come in and then try shooting them a few times with your bow, or you could just jump down and catch them off guard. I usually do the off guard one, as I'm a very impatient person and don't like waiting an entire one. I mean, it doesn't seem that long, but just 1 minute to get a kill over, and it's yeah. So that's my strategy. On to the third round with this. Just doing the same thing as you do in Cherry Bomb. You play somewhat aggressive with your bow at the start, and then start attacking them with your bow. You shoot them a bit at the start, and then you attack them with your sword. But in this scenario, I didn't do that, as he didn't even know where I was. I was behind him, and he wasn't prepared for me to do this. He actually was a pretty good PvPer. He managed to keep me at a far enough distance where he could turn around and shoot his bow and run again. Most people don't know how to do that, though, so you won't run into that too many times. But I still came out on top by just having the first sword hits at the beginning of the game. I got like 4 hits off of him while he wasn't aware of my he didn't know my whereabouts around. You want to play really aggressive on frozen bite or whatever. You want to play extremely aggressive because there's so many things that they can there's ice, which is helpful for combos, and it usually is just a pretty quick game of PvP at that case. Guys, well, this is gonna be the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy this thing. I hope it helped you out in any way, shape, or form. This is the strategies that I use, at least. I don't win. I haven't. I wasn't too good at the very beginning until I actually learned these strategies, and these seem to really help me out a little bit. So I really hope this helped you a bit. And see you later. Adios, los amigos.